Hello, welcome to Dynamics GP SmartList Tips and Tricks. My name's Trudie Whitmarsh and I'll be taking you through these on version 2016 R2. What I'll do is just make a mention that any questions will be answered via email direct afterwards. So hopefully you can see my screen all okay. And what I'll do is just get rid of this PowerPoint and show, just come out, just bear with me, and then into Dynamics GP. As I say, this is 2016 R2 and the very latest service pack that I'm showing you this on. So I'm just going to go into SmartLists now. I'm going to go to it from here and into SmartLists. Now, what's been included in 2016 is the fact that you now have the ability to design your own SmartList. So SmartList Designer has been included, and you can get to that just by opening up your SmartLists, and we are now able to create new ones, or you can get into it via Administrator, Reports and SmartList Designer, so you can get to it that way. Now, what I'll just do is I'll just drop down into some of the SmartLists that are already on here, and obviously you're going to have all your own favourites already set up. So I'm just going to go over some things that you may or may not know, and then I'm going to create a brand new SmartList, show you editing a SmartList, and sort of getting used to linking the tables when you do create your own SmartList. The one thing I will say is there's when you look online, you can get some lists of tables and links, but I haven't yet found a fully comprehensive sort of schema file where it lists all the tables and all the links. But I'm going to keep searching. So when we've got that, I'll get Lucy to put it up on our website. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all call up one that already exists, and I'm going to bring up customers, and I'm just going to bring up customer balance. It's just a reminder of some things that are already on here. Now let's full screen that. Just as a way of reminding you, in your search facilities, now you can set maximum records here when you are calling up your SmartList. By default, it's defaulting to 1,000. Now, the actual maximum record amount is 1410065,407, so 1 million records, well, about 1.5 million. But if you put in there 9999999, it would default to the 1410065. You can set that in Tools, Setup, System, and set a maximum in there if you don't want to keep overriding it here. Now within the search, you can set up, pick up a column that you want to do any filtering on. So I could say customer balance is greater than a certain amount. At the bottom here, I can match by all or just by one or more when I'm doing my searching. And I can change the order of my columns on a SmartList. So I can insert and then order in a different way. And so again, sometimes people forget that you can do that really. Okay, but I'll come back to that. Now, I'm just going to come out of here because I think we're quite happy with searching and filtering. And I say you've got up to 4 there, your maximum records, because I want to go into columns separately at the top rather than columns here. But I can get into it here as well rather than going into columns at the top. So I'll cancel out of that. So it's really mainly the maximum record size setting there that I wanted to remind you about. So I'll cross out of that. Obviously we've got refresh, but if I go into columns next, here we can add extra columns on our smart list. I know probably you're all sort of aware of this, but there may be some people who aren't. So if I click on add, then I can add the available columns that are within this standard smart list. If I want to do anything out of the ordinary, then I've got to create my own smart list or add to this smart list and give it a new name, which I'm going to be showing you as we go forward. So yes, I can add an extra column if I want. I don't balance type, for example, just as an example on here. I can remove columns, obviously, and I can also click on default, and this is where I can change the display name. So if I wanted a different display name, I can change it here, and then I can see whatever I want. Customer number rather than customer account. So don't forget that you can do that, and that is in default. Now also what I can do is I can move the columns around, yeah, by using my arrow keys on the side. So I just want to mention that for anybody who might not be aware. Okay, so I'll come out of that. Right, when we've gone in and we've created maybe an extra smart list, then we can add it to our favorites. And if I click on favorites, you can just give it a name and a new name, and say where you want this smart list to be visible. If it's a system-wide, just in this company, or just to a particular user type class or a user ID. And that's what's in our favorites. And we can remove, or we can modify, or we can add favorites here. Okay, so I just cancel out of there. I'm just going to highlight one of these. What we have got as well is on the go to, I could drop down and I could pick where I want to go to on this particular record. If I want to go to address maintenance for this record, then I can go in and jump to it rather than going back to dynamics and going into the address. I can do it from here. I can also just double click and go to data maintenance that way. And because I'm on a smart list that is customer orientated, it's not transactional orientated, so it's taking me to the relevant places for customers. Yeah, but don't forget this go to, if I drop down, then I could pick to go to the customer inquiry screen for this. And you've got this throughout the system to more or less a degree, and in our own smart list we can say what go to from any other smart list we'd like to use. So yes, so don't forget you've got that's what's in the go to, which I think is quite useful rather than having to jump about all over the place. Now obviously, I'll just come away from that. Obviously we've got print, I mean that speaks for itself. We've also got Excel, which you know will take the whole smart list out to Excel. So here's where you could pivot it or do what you like to it. Within version 2016 R2, they've got rid of the symbols. It comes out as a proper numeric format, as opposed to before it just came out as a general. So it's actually coming out properly as a numeric figure. Now that was one of the new features in 2016. Okay, so I'll come out of that. Also, because this is a customer balance smart list, if I click on Word, a lot of the other ones, you know, if it was transactional or whatever, would just take the whole thing out to Word, like it's done with my Excel here. But because I'm on a customer sort of type balance smart list, then I can actually prepare a little debtor letter from here. So I could click on that, and depending on our letter writing assistance, our formats, I could do a blank letter, or I could pick to do a customer apology and do next. And I'll unmark all. I just want to do for one particular account, and then I could do next and complete the letter writing assistant just by my name, and I could put my title on there, or Mrs. I say, and sure, I never know whether to put 2 L's or 1, and finish. And then what that will do is a little letter on the fly, depending on your formats, to that particular customer. Or I could have done a blank one and had a load, and it just saves doing mail merging and things like that in Word. But not to say that you couldn't. If you had a smart list with all the addresses on, you could ship out to Excel, save that and use that as a mail merge document to merge into a Word document, couldn't you? So, and you've got collection letters as well as all these different Word documents. So just a reminder about that, that facility is in there as well. I'm not going to save that. Oh, actually, by the way, when I am in here, no one's Americanized here. I am in Fabricam. I'm sorry. Then obviously you could still edit if it was a one-off letter anyway. Yeah, or if it was a blank one, just ship out a few and do a letter, and off you go. Okay, so just come out of that, don't save. Right, but that's the sort of differences there. Now, what else shall I show you in here? Favorites pane, well, again, we can show and hide our favorites pane and enable auto hide. That's really all that's to show you in there. Okay, now I'm not going to create a new one just yet, because I want to come out of this particular one and bring up more of a transaction one. I want to add to do a new one, but add to an existing smart list, and then do a complete brand new one. Okay, so I'm just going to cross out of here. I always come all the way out. Right, so I'm back in my smart list. I'm going to go to customers again, but this time I'm going to go to customer balance. So if I open that one up, oh, actually I was on that one before, sorry. Bear with me. Well, let's go to sales transactions. Let's do open invoices. Okay. One thing I wanted to mention as well, that's why I've come into transactions, is when you're doing transactional smart lists, you might want to pick the document type, because obviously when it shows out to Excel, it doesn't differentiate with the negatives. So you'd end up adding it up and not realise that maybe you've got credits in there. So I know I'm telling you to suck eggs, but do check on your search that maybe the document type is equal to invoice, and do maybe credits separate and then bring them together on your, or if you've got the type, let's face it, you could do a filter in Excel. You can do anything once it's in Excel, but just be aware of that. Okay. Right, so if, for example, in here I wanted to add a new column, a new field, then what I can do is now, because SmartList Designer is included, whereas before you had to buy SmartList Builder. Now SmartList Builder is still available, and it's an E1 product, which does give you more flexibility with your smart lists and a bit more in-depth creation. But this is quite user-friendly, and you should be able to write your own smart lists easily with this. And actually, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do this one. I am going to go back to my customer balance. I'm going to start simply and then go into more table linking just to sort of ease you in. If I go sales and customers again and customer balance, what I want to do is I'm looking for credit limit amount. So I'll go in columns, I'll look in add, and I'll scroll down my list, and if it's here I'll go mad. And I've got credit limit type, I've got credit limit period, but lo and behold, I haven't got the one field that would be really useful for me. Yeah, to see what their credit limit amount is. So if I cancel from here, if I click on new, this is now our SmartList Designer. So this is going to sort of once you know the tables, revolutionize your SmartList creation. Now, what it will want to do, it will want to give it a new name. So what we have here, we have list name. So we will have to give it a new name. We are in the Microsoft Dynamics GP product, and I am under the sales series. Now, this is because I've come to it from an existing smart list. If I was starting from scratch, then I'd want to drop down on here. I am going to do one from scratch in a moment. I would want to select the particular series that I'm writing my smart list under, so it drops in the right place under my folders. Yeah. So I'll say customer and credit value. Yeah. Now, what we've got here, we've got the database view. Now on this screen, this is where we've got the different modules that you may have. We also can have SQL views. Now there are some views in here, system and company views, that are the dynamic GP views that already exist. But if you know a bit about SQL, you could write your own view and add this to your smart list. Yeah, so I know these don't look very exciting, but a view is almost easier to do your linking and create your view, add it in here, and then all you're literally doing on this screen is then opening one of these up and picking your fields. So that's where the SQL views come in. But you know, start simply first of all. Let's close up the views, and if I go back up, obviously I want to add a column to this existing smart list from Microsoft Dynamics GP. So I open up my Microsoft Dynamics GP node, as they call it, and then open up my tables. So then here are all my tables with all the relevant fields in. It's just really, it's a little bit trial and error for you guys, really, picking the right table with the right information in, and then finding a link of something that's very similar, like, you know, if I was in vendors, it'd be like, you know, vendor ID, and in the other table, you know, let's hope there's vendor ID, and then we can link them together. But that's basically, over here we've got our database view with our main series, and then within here, I'll just let it open up, we've literally got all the tables within our sales ledger. So that's this portion of the screen. Over here, obviously, we've got our selected fields, and I'm going to select my credit limit balance in a moment. And then here in this portion of the screen, we've got our relationship. So when I have to link the table in a minute, you'll see how to do it. We've also got a filter, and at the bottom, we can check that our link between our tables is working and is correct, because when we execute it, we will see the results pane at the bottom here. So we can see if it's worked. You could try using the auto link and hope for the best, or you're probably better just working it out for yourself. Yeah, and we can add calculated fields. This is what this FX up here is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look in my receivables management debtor master. So if I scroll down, you can open up any one of these tables and have a look and find what you're looking for. As I say, it is, when you're first getting used to this, it will be a little bit trial and error as to what is in which table. Victoria Udin, her name is, she's got quite a good website, and she does list tables and what sort of tran types things mean. But as I say, I'm trying to find an all-encompassing table schema file out there. It's got to be one somewhere. Right, okay, so I've opened up my RM debtor master file, and you see if I was creating one from scratch, you see I just open up the table that I want, and I just be click, 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 picking the fields that I wanted. But I'm going to go down and find my credit limit amount. Because remember, on this smart list, I had type, I had period, I had everything but credit limit amount. So I'm going to tick that, and that then has put that underneath. Now, because these are two different tables, and if you weren't aware of that, as soon as you went to say OK, it would tell you you need to link these tables. Yeah. So now in our relationship portion of our screen, I've got to drop down here, and I've got to link my customer balance table to my credit limit, my debtor master table. So what I'll say, I know there's customer number, luckily in the RM debtor master. So I'll say, okay, link by customer number. And then here I have the option of a left join, an inner join, and a cross join. And I'll explain what those mean to you. And as I say, the difference with having the fully blown SmartList Builder product is you get far more joins available to you. But how you could get over it on here is by writing a view and adding it in. Yeah. But basically, a left join will show records which are in the first table even when they're not in the second table. So you'll still get the core information, but there isn't a credit limit, you're still going to get the customer number, the customer name, the customer balance. Yeah. An inner join will only show records that are in both tables. Okay, so you know you could end up with nothing. And a cross join will return data which exists in either table. Now that's the ones that can be a bit you know, look a bit odd. Shouldn't do with this type of table because it's a customer balance one with a credit limit, but you could imagine some might look a bit odd with, you know, some a column with information on and nothing over on the left hand side. So most of these will be left joins. And my table 2 is my RM debtor master. And field name, I know I've got customer number in there, so you are always looking for, you know, obviously the same. And when I execute my query to check that all's going to be well with the world, at the bottom here, you'll see I've got my customer number, customer name, balance, and my credit limit amount. And if there was any other filtering I wanted to do, I can drop down and pick whichever field I want, and then my conditions. Oh, let's see if let's pick one. Oh, it's not have name. Customer balance. Yeah, put something in, then you'll get a condition. Is or is not, is any, is none. Yeah, so you get all the normal conditions, because it may be that you only want to look at customers with a balance greater than 0 or something. Yeah, so that's what you can do in there. And if you want to remove any selections you've made, just hit the cross and that will clear them out. Okay, and the same with here. If you got your links all wrong and it all looked horrible, again you could cross and that would remove that linking there. And if you wanted to see what that query looked like in SQL, you could click on there and there you are. That's what it would look like in SQL. Okay. Good. So that's adding to an existing, and what I'll do is I'll say OK on that. Yep, and then there it is, customer and credit value. And obviously I could add that to my favorites, and then I've always got the little sort of starter there that I could then create a new one from that. But it's created a new folder because I've given it a different name. Now if you thought, so, I'm not really happy with one I've created there, you might say, oh, why do I get rid of that off my list? Well, you know, I don't want it, I don't want it. What you have to do is with that highlighted, you go into modify, yeah, and then you can just delete. Yeah, and that will get rid of it off the list. Yeah. What you can do as well in here is you can create a go-to. Now, probably better to create a go-to on a brand new one, because you'll have a go-to already within this smart list anyway, because it's based on a smart list. So I'll come out of there. And then just show you again, modify, and we'll delete that. Are you sure? Yeah. I've come out of there, and you see now it's gone. So that's how you'll get rid of one that you create inadvertently, because while you're sort of practicing, as I say, you'll be looking in all sorts of different tables. Right, I'm going to create one from scratch now, just to sort of show you that sometimes the table linking is a little bit more involved, but just think logically, okay, well, if I've got this and I've got this table, I'm going to need to link the address with the vendor, and if I'm calling up bank and it's because it's attached to address, I'm going to need to link all three. So I'll just do one from scratch, just to show you. So what I'm going to do, I will just highlight purchasing, because I'm going to do what I'm going to do is I'm going to link a purchase vendor address and an EFT bank file. So I'm going to link all three of those together, just really so you've definitely got the idea with the table linking. Right, so I'm going to do brand new, and because I'm highlighting purchases, I'm under the right series, and so what I'll do is I'll just give this vendor or creditor, as we like to know, but I am in the American company here, so I'll say vendor EFT. So again, all I'm doing is opening up my Microsoft Dynamics GP, tables, purchasing, because I'm going to be picking from 3 tables. This is why I just want to just go over this again a little bit more, and then we'll be done. Okay, so the first table I want to look into is the RM vendor master file. Oh, PM, payables management, I should say, not RM. That's where I was in sales earlier. So I don't want the address master, I want the PM creditor master file. There we are. So if I, now don't tick that box, will you? Because then you'd get every last field under that table. What we have to do is obviously still click open, and all I want from this table is vendor ID and a vendor name. Yep, and that's all I want. So then I can roll that one back up, and then the next table I want is the PM address master table. Now this was back up here, wasn't it? I went past it. There we go. So if I open that one up, and again all I want from this one is address 1, 2, 3, yeah, let's have city, state, zip code, maybe a bit of phone. Yeah, so we've got some stuff going on here. So I'm happy with that. So I'll roll that one up. And then the next table I want, because the EFT information, as I say, you will get to know this once you start writing lots of different smart tags, is actually in company. So what I need to do now, no, don't ask, if I click on company or open company, oh, come on. Right, okay, and then in here, what I'm after is bank name. Oh, hang on. In company, I want to find my table. I'm jumping the gun. I want the table first. Address electronics transfer. There we go, went right past it. It's alphabetical order. Address electronic funds transfer master. So if I open that one up, then what I need to pick from here is bank name. Because I'm going to be linking the tables, it's going to know which electronic bank belongs to which vendor, because I've got to do 3 lots of table linking at the bottom. But don't be put off by that. You know, it's relatively straightforward, and so you keep doing it until you get the right result in your pane. So then I want EFT bank account, and then I want EFT bank code, and that's about all I need for this exercise. So if I scroll that up, now as I say, I'm going to need to do quite a few links on this for it to make sense. But I wanted to show you this just so you can see that you might have multiple links that you need to do. So first and foremost, obviously I've got to link the creditor master to the address master. So I'll call up table name, and if I go to the creditor master file, we know there's vendor ID in both. Most of them are easy enough to link. Most of the time it will be a left join. And then I want obviously my PM address master. And again, the only logical link there is vendor ID. So I've linked my creditor master to my address master. Yeah. So and that's by vendor by vendor. Now I've got to link the creditor master address code to the PM address master address code. Still with me? So tab, I always want to click. So if I drop down on there, the next link again will be PM creditor master, but this time, because I want to make sure everything is linked properly, I need the vendor address code. Yeah, and a left join to the address master, and again, address code, I can link by address code. Tab. So now I've got to link the electronic bank file to both of those as well. Yeah, so then it's an all-round good relationship, and then we'll get the right information coming out. So next drop down will be my PM address master, and then I've got to link it again to my vendor ID, because now I'm doing the link with the address, the vendor, and the EFT file. I've only done this one so that you can see that there could need to be multiple relationships going on here. Yeah, and link that by, again, vendor ID. And then last but not least, again, my address master by the address code, a left join. So we'll just do it for joining the other two to the electronic address. And again, we've got address code. So there's all logic there that of what we're just making sure every last thing is linked. And then as soon as I do my execute query, my information comes up along the bottom. And I did actually, on my sample data, I did only actually put one EFT bank name and account on one of the items there. It's not that it's just not missing anything. I've only got one. So, but that's just to show you it working there, really. Okay. And if we looked at the query on that, it's actually not such a bad query as the other one was. Yeah. And then we're back to our results. And again, because this was this is a brand new smart list in effect, and as I say, you could have hours of fun creating your own on your own little, pick the right table. A lot of the information you can probably get from one table, and you won't have to link anything too often. But if you're unsure of the linking, I mean, you can always ring us up anyway and say, well, what would, I can't see anything that I could sensibly link by. What do you think? So we could help you with that. So if I do a create go-to on here, what I can do is I can add these little go-tos. Remember our go-to, to account maintenance and what have you. And what I could do is I could say, okay, I want to go to on here to another smart list, and then navigate from within there. So I could say smart list. I could give it a name. I'm not feeling very creative today. So series, I'll say purchasing, smart list. Well, you could pick a smart list which you like all the go-tos on, and then I guess on this one it would probably be something like vendor addresses or vendors even, and then I can use that go-tos on there. Yep, so I've added those. I could add a navigation, which would just is quite useful for if you use purchase approvals, because you can navigate to unapproved vendors or approved vendors. So I'll say OK on that, and then I'll OK again. And there's my new smart list, which I can modify. I can, if I open up and I click on that, I'm still going to get the same thing. And also, if I click on one of these, I can do go to vendor one, and then it will take me to a smart list, because I said a smart list that I wanted to go to, and then I can do my double clicking and drill in to that one. That's just an aside, really. I don't know whether you'd use that one that much, really, but that's what that adding go-tos is all about on the smart list. So I'll come out of there. I'll go back a moment just so you can see that back on the list. Purchasing, vendor EFT. So as you can see, you can have lots of fun creating your own smart list from scratch, and just sort of probably just put yourself in the right place first and do new, or adding fields to existing smart lists. Just get your relationships right, and or it might be stuff you can just pick from the same table, but it's very straightforward, I think, very user friendly. But if you wanted something a bit more in depth, then there is the SmartList Builder product, but that is a third-party product that you have to buy. What basically Dynamics has done is added this one in as a cut-down version of that, so that just to make life a little bit easier for you. So yeah, so I think that that probably concludes my SmartList tips and tricks. Okay, so thanks very much, and if you've got any questions, if you'd like to email, then we'll answer you back direct, as I said. Okay, thanks for listening.